Don't close your eyes. Look at me. Somebody call 911 now.
Dee grabs the phone. The
Sir,
truckers freeze.
I need you to cough. Cough for me. Come on.
The old man's lips are blue. His fingers claw at his collar. He can't breathe. Whitney wraps her arms around him, squeezes.
Come on.
He gasps, one thin, ragged breath.
From the kitchen, Dee shouts,
Whitney, it's past 2. Your wedding, girl, you're late.
She glances at the clock. 2:16 p.m. Her fiancé is standing at the altar right now, waiting. She looks back at the dying stranger.
Nothing more important than this.
She doesn't know his name. She has no idea what this one stubborn choice is about to change.
Ada Parkins for.
Man, to understand why she did that, you gotta know what that wedding actually meant to her. Because to everybody else, it was just one night. To her, it was everything. But to understand why Whitney made that choice, why she didn't even hesitate, you need to know where she comes from and what that wedding actually meant to her. Ridgedale, Georgia. Population just under 2,000. One traffic light, one gas station, one boarded-up textile mill that used to employ half the town, and one diner that still keeps its open sign lit, Dee's Hometown Grill. Whitney has worked there since she was 19 years old. She lives in a rented single-wide trailer behind the church. The porch steps creak so loud the neighbors know when she's home. The kitchen faucet drips no matter how hard she twists it. And on the counter, next to a stack of overdue bills, there's a mason jar with the words "Wedding Fund" written in black marker. Inside that jar, crumpled ones, fives, loose change, $340. 9 years of dreaming. That's what it added up to. Whitney's mother, Lorraine, passed away 2 years ago. Stroke complications. She was 56. Lorraine had worked at that same diner before Dee bought it. Spent 20 years behind that grill, flipping burgers and making meatloaf from a recipe she swore came to her in a dream. When Lorraine died, Whitney didn't inherit money. She didn't inherit property. She inherited a spiral notebook, stained, dog-eared, held together with a rubber band. Every page filled with her mother's handwriting. Recipes, notes in the margins, little things like, "Add more garlic if the man looks sad," and "Cornbread rises better when you hum." Whitney carries that notebook in her apron pocket, every single shift. It's the most valuable thing she owns. After Lorraine passed, things got harder. Rent fell behind. First 1 month, then 2. Whitney's car started slipping out of second gear. She stopped buying coffee so she could save an extra $4 a week. She picked up every double shift Dee offered. Sundays, holidays, didn't matter. She never complained. Not once. Ask anyone in Ridgedale about Whitney Sanders, and they'll all say the same thing. She remembers your name. She remembers your coffee order. She remembers your kid's birthday and asks about it 3 days later. She puts fresh wildflowers in a jam jar on the counter every morning, picks them herself from the ditch behind the trailer on her walk to work. Dee once told her, "Girl, the way you treat this place, you'd think it was the Ritz." Whitney just shrugged. Mama said dignity don't cost extra. Then Terrence came along. Terrence Moore, 30 years old, mechanic at the only auto shop in town. Quiet, steady, the kind of man who shows up, does the work, and doesn't need applause. He started coming into the diner every morning. Same booth, same order, same time. 6 months of black coffee and scrambled eggs before he finally said more than thank you. One night after closing, he was waiting by her car in the parking lot. Whitney almost hit him with her purse. "I'm not trying to scare you," he said. I've been trying to figure out how to say this for a while. Say what? He pulled out a ring. Small. Handmade. He'd shaped it from a repurposed spark plug and mounted a tiny cubic zirconia on top. It wasn't fancy. It wasn't expensive. Whitney cried for an hour. Not because the ring was small, because someone finally chose her. They set the date for a Saturday in June. The ceremony would be at the church, free, because Pastor Green owed Lorraine a favor from years back. The reception was going to be potluck in the church basement. Naomi, Whitney's best friend and maid of honor, volunteered to bake the cake from a box mix. And Whitney's dress? Her mother's dress. White, slightly yellowed, taken in by hand with uneven stitches she hid under a ribbon sash. It wasn't the wedding little girls dream about. But for Whitney, it was everything. The morning of the wedding, Whitney got up at 5. She ironed the dress. She laid it on the bed. She ran her fingers over the ribbon sash and whispered, "Okay, Mama, today's the day." Then she drove to the diner. One last shift. She'd clock out at 2, drive home, change, and make it to the church by 4. 2 hours. That's all she needed. No margin for error. No room for anything to go wrong. At 1:15, while wiping down the counter, Whitney noticed something tucked under booth 6. A leather briefcase. Dark brown. Expensive looking. Monogrammed in gold with 2 letters. H.C. She moved it aside gently, figured someone left it behind. Made a mental note to put it in the lost and found. Then she went back to counting down the minutes. 45 minutes to freedom. 45 minutes to the rest of her life. But what Whitney didn't know, what she couldn't possibly know, was that the rest of her life wasn't waiting at the church. It was about to walk through the front door of that diner. Everything was on schedule. Whitney was counting down the minutes. And then the bell above the door rang one last time. 1:40 p.m. 20 minutes before she clocks out. The diner is almost empty. 2 truckers nursing coffee at the counter. A young mother by the window, cutting pancakes into tiny pieces for her toddler. The ceiling fan wobbles in slow circles. The radio is playing something soft and forgettable. The front door swings open. A gust of warm Georgia air rolls in. An old man steps inside. White, mid-70s. Plain flannel shirt, khaki pants, no jewelry. He doesn't look rich. He doesn't look important. He looks tired, like a man who's been driving a long time with nowhere particular to be. He sits down in booth 6 without waiting to be seated. Doesn't look at the menu right away. Just sits there, hands folded on the table, watching the room, taking everything in. The wobbly fan, the wildflowers in the jam jar,